Lil Scrappy finally snapped, and this time there's no going back. Fists flew, voices rose, and Stevie J walked right into the fire without even realizing the flames were already lit. Not by Scrappy, but by the one person no one expected: Bambi. Because what went down outside that Fulton County courthouse wasn't just drama. It was war. And the battlefield wasn't the courtroom. It was the street. The cameras caught it all. No filters, no edits. Scrappy lunging straight at Stevie with a rage that had been building for months, maybe years. No words, no warnings, just impact. And while the world stood shocked, trying to piece together what triggered it, those who knew it was betrayal. Deep, cold, and calculated, and the match was lit long before this fight, inside that courtroom when secrets spilled like gasoline on concrete. And Bambi? She didn't flinch, didn't blink, walked out with her legal team like she just won a championship. But what really sent Scrappy off the edge wasn't just her presence, it was what came out in court. Because this wasn't a regular custody battle. This was sabotage dressed up in legal terms. According to leaked court documents, Bambi had allegedly been feeding Stevie J private details about Scrappy's finances, his parenting schedule, and even personal struggles he never made. Public, all to make him look unfit, unstable, and undeserving of custody. And that's not all. Transcripts revealed secret strategy meetings between Bambi and Stevie, not business meetings, but behind the curtain, cut-him-down sessions designed to break Scrappy mentally, legally, publicly, and while Scrappy was out. Here thinking he was fighting for his daughter, Bambi and Stevie were allegedly playing chess with his life. One anonymous source from inside the courtroom said this wasn't a mother protecting her child. This was a full-blown takedown mission. And the man she partnered with? Stevie J, the same Stevie who'd been throwing subliminals ever since the Love and Hip Hop reunion. The same one who joked Bambi looked better without Scrappy. And while people thought it was all for TV, turns out that wasn't shade, it was strategy. Whispers say Stevie saw Bambi as his golden ticket to power in the reboot, and by helping her stir the pot in court, he wasn't just building clout, he was building control. And Scrappy? He was the pawn until he snapped. And that's when everything unraveled. Cameras flashed, security scrambled, and in that split second, fists connected, chaos erupted, and the internet lost its mind. TMZ dropped the footage, Twitter exploded, fans took sides. Erica Dixon tweeted, then deleted something that hit hard. Told y'all, people play dirty until they get caught. And K. Michelle reposted the fight clip with a chilling caption, "It's always the ones smiling in your face." But no one brought the fire like Mama D, who went live the second she saw the headlines. Wine glass in hand, voice shaking. With fury, "I told y'all Bambi was poisoned, but now y'all want to listen?" She said, then dropped something even heavier. Screenshots, allegedly showing DMs between Bambi and Stevie J discussing Scrappy's weaknesses, how to exploit them in court. Were they real? Who knows, but they went viral in seconds. And then came the audio, a leak from the courtroom mic accidentally left on after the session. Bambi, laughing, whispering. "That was easier than I thought, he took the bait." 6 words that flipped the narrative. Because now people were asking, what? Bait? Was Scrappy set up? Was this fight outside the courthouse part of a bigger plan to make him look dangerous? Fans started digging, pulling clips from past seasons where Stevie and Bambi shared glances, whispered in corners, always when Scrappy was at his lowest. And suddenly what looked like messy reality TV started to feel like a calculated psychological ambush. And the biggest question now, how far does this betrayal go? Was it just emotional, or was there financial sabotage too? Because what came next changed the game. A sealed court document leaked online, allegedly submitted by Scrappy's legal team, and it didn't hold back. It claimed that Bambi had been in continuous communication with Stevie J to spread false stories in the media, influence witnesses, and distort public perception of Scrappy during the custody case. This wasn't just drama, this was criminal intent. The file even contained screenshots and text messages, one of which read, "Keep poking him, he'll snap eventually. Once he does, we've got him." And that was the smoking gun. Because now people were accusing Bambi and Stevie of pushing Scrappy into a breakdown just to use it against him. And while Stevie's team stayed silent, behind-the-scenes reports say he retained a top crisis management firm known for NDAs and cover-ups, which only made people more suspicious. And just as the fire started to spread, Mama D returned with more ammo, claiming she had handwritten letters from Bambi to Scrappy, Full of regret, manipulation, and twisted love, she read one aloud. "I did what I had to do. You were slipping. I needed to win." Then she stared into the camera and said it plain. "That ain't love, that's war." And suddenly the fan base was split. Some saying Scrappy got played, others saying Bambi was just being strategic, but the truth? It only got messier because a production whistleblower came forward, claiming the entire courtroom drama was pitched to producers by Stevie J himself, and Bambi allegedly agreed to go along in exchange for storyline control and editing power on the reboot. But here's the worst part. Scrappy allegedly had no idea. He thought it was real. He thought he was fighting for his daughter, for his name, for his future, while the others were collecting quiet checks and prepping for a redemption arc. And when that leaked, the betrayal hit nuclear. Suddenly, former castmates like Tommy Lee and Carly Red started speaking up, calling the whole production shady and heartless. And court insiders confirmed Scrappy had filed for a media gag order, backed by a psychological report showing he was suffering acute distress from the media circus, the manipulation, and the personal attacks. And as if things couldn't get worse, word started spreading that a powerful name in reality TV might be the puppet master behind the scenes, someone who's built empires off other people's pain. And if that's true, then this ain't just about Bambi and Stevie J anymore. This is about the machine that turns real-life trauma into primetime content. And while Scrappy bleeds, the cameras keep rolling. But this time, the receipts are real. And they might just bring the whole empire down. We left off with sealed subpoenas being drafted, production receipts getting leaked, and whispers turning into roars about who really pulled the strings in this twisted saga. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, an anonymous Reddit account dropped a bomb that cracked the entire case wide open. A zip folder started circulating with production notes, uncut scene schedules, and internal memos from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's set. And right there in plain sight, Stevie J's name listed beside a line that read, "Bonus if altercation with Scrappy is delivered before summer finale." Yes, you heard that right. There was a literal cash incentive tied to violence, tied to the very courtroom explosion that made headlines. And fans couldn't believe it, because if that's true, this wasn't a fight. This was a setup, orchestrated, funded, and filmed for ratings. But the plot only thickened, because buried deeper in that same file was a wire transfer receipt, $9,500 sent to Bambi's LLC from a company linked to the franchise just 2 weeks before the Courthouse brawl. Reason listed, promotional compensation. And just like that, the puzzle pieces clicked. This wasn't custody drama, it was business. It was production disguised as pain. And the internet erupted. Bloggers demanded a boycott, podcasts went wild. YouTubers lit up with titles like "Bambi sold Scrappy out for a check," "Stevie J staged it all," "Mama D was right from day one." And speaking of Mama D, she came back with the energy of a storm, full glam, sipping wine, surrounded by blown-up screenshots from the leaked files, reading every single one out loud like court evidence, then pointing at the camera and saying, "Now what? Still think my son's crazy?" Because now the proof wasn't just speculation, it was financial, digital, undeniable. And behind the scenes, Scrappy wasn't wasting a second. Sources say he met with his legal team for 6 hours straight, the night the Reddit files leaked, reviewing everything, planning to file a civil suit not just against Bambi and Stevie J, but against the production company itself, the entire empire behind the chaos, and legal experts began chiming in. One celebrity attorney who'd worked on high-profile celebrity cases claimed that if Scrappy could prove emotional manipulation, defamation, and deliberate staging of trauma for profit, he could sue for millions, maybe more. And while the legal wheels started turning, Stevie J vanished, social media locked down, comments turned off, TikTok deleted, no statements, no denials, loud, because silence is guilt's favorite mask. But Bambi wasn't hiding, not yet. Her team released a statement claiming the money was standard promo payment, nothing shady, nothing illegal. She insisted everything filmed was contractual and approved by network attorneys. In other words, she said, "Don't blame me, blame the network." But that excuse started to crack when internal VH1 memos leaked, showing execs scrambling to control the backlash. Advertisers were pulling inquiries, PR teams were working overtime, and some insiders claimed that if this got worse, the whole franchise might go dark, permanently, because this wasn't just a scandal, it was a media ethics disaster. And then came the betrayal no one saw coming. An ex-producer from Love and Hip Hop, face blurred, voice distorted, sat down for an anonymous interview on a YouTube expose series and laid it all bare. "We were told to dig deep," she said. "Exploit the trauma, stretch the pain, and push for conflict. Whatever made good TV." She claimed Scrappy's custody case was specifically flagged as a high-drama opportunity, and that cast members were guided off-camera to escalate scenes emotionally and psychologically. And if that's true, then what happened to Scrappy wasn't just betrayal, it was entrapment. And the internet snapped. Free Scrappy started trending without needing the actual hashtag. Fans flooded forums with support. Petitions popped up demanding justice. Even celebrities weighed in. Candy Burris from Real Housewives posted, "This ain't TV anymore. This is abuse for profit." And still the network stayed quiet. But Scrappy didn't. He finally broke his silence, raw and unfiltered. Standing in his kitchen, hoodie on, voice tired, no glam, just truth. "I fought for my daughter, for my name, and y'all turned it into entertainment," he said, then held up a photo of his child and added, "This the only person I care about winning for? The rest of y'all already lost." And just like that, sympathy came pouring in. But here's where things flipped. Remember that fight outside the courthouse? The one that went viral? Scrappy's lawyers now claim that was staged, provoked, and filmed intentionally to derail his custody rights. They've requested access to all unaired footage, behind-the-scenes files, and production emails because if they can prove it was orchestrated, then Scrappy doesn't look unstable anymore. He looks trapped, and that changes everything. Suddenly, Stevie J isn't a victim of a punch. He's a puppet master behind a meltdown. And if Bambi played along, that makes her an accomplice, not a co-parent. And now the legal terms being thrown around are no joke. Coercion, witness tampering, psychological abuse, media fraud, and if proven, this case won't just shake up reality TV, it'll burn it to the ground. Because now it's not just about one fight, one betrayal, or one father's pain. It's about the entire machine that profits off it, and Scrappy's team knows that. That's why insiders say they're preparing to subpoena not just producers, but executive-level staff, even email threads between network heads. And they want it all. Production bonuses, financial incentives, scene outlines, footage logs, everything. And if even half of it points to what fans already believe, this will be the biggest takedown in reality TV history. Because you can't turn a man's real-life custody battle into a season finale cliffhanger without consequences, and the industry knows it. That's why panic is rising behind the scenes. Some cast members already jumping ship, others posting vague statements, like it's all love, trying to play both sides. But the public isn't stupid anymore. People are waking up, seeing the manipulation, the lies, the exploitation, and asking the real questions. How many others got used like this? How many moments we thought were real were actually scripted setups designed to break people for ratings? And at the center of it all stands Scrappy. Not perfect, not innocent, but human, broken by betrayal, exploited by entertainment, and now fighting back not just for his daughter, but for every cast member who got chewed up and spit out by the fame machine. And as this storm builds, we end here, for now. But not because the story's over. No, because the next chapter might be the one that flips the whole game. Legal action is coming. Truths are about to be exposed, and those who thought they were untouchable might finally feel the heat. Because when reality becomes weaponized and pain becomes a paycheck, someone's got to answer for it. And this time, Scrappy ain't the one being silenced.